This is my first video. I'm gonna be honest, I did a recording of a few videos thinking I could join them together. Can't figure it out, so now I have to start over and somehow combine a half hour into 10 minutes. I've already taken up 20 seconds here. My goodness, okay. Today has been a day, we have a snow day. It's been a lot of snow. My son is home. I figured I'll make a video. I don't care what I look like. It's just about time I start talking about what I want to talk about. I'm going to speak on my own personal experiences. I want to talk about friendship and what friendship means to you. I know for me it means no judgment, a safe space, love, and support. Yeah, don't judge your friends. Create an open, happy space for someone who has been through trauma. Unless if you know or you don't know if they've been through trauma in their past, people who have typically tend to hide it, especially if you have childhood trauma like myself. I tend to hide any trauma that I've been through, or if I'm going through something, I don't give the full extent of it. It's a habit that is learned. The only time that you can open up in these scenarios is if somebody creates a safe space for you. Judgment, guilt trips, asking for explanations, that's not being a good friend. You're not being a friend if you do those things. You are actually making them feel like they are not in a safe space, and the more you give judgment or have a shitty energy or tone towards that person, the less they're going to open up to you. That's just how it is. I went through trauma all growing up, and I had been going through something pretty big because I had lost somebody in my life that was there for at least 17 years at the time, overnight, and it sent me into fight or flight. I had friends talking about me. Hearsay is a huge thing. Do not talk about people. If you're a friend and you hear something about your friend and you continue to talk about said friend, you're not a friend. You're actually more of an enemy. You're acting like an enemy, like the ones that gossip about your friend, because that's what you're doing. I ended up in a scenario where I didn't realize the outcome of what was going on in my life, that I ended up in fight or flight. And that ended up turning, well, I was already in fight or flight my whole life. I was run. But it turned into PTSD. And I didn't realize what was happening with my mind, my body, anything. And I had friends that completely were listening to hearsay instead of talking to me about it. I will say, if you're the friend that has gone through trauma or you feel you are going through a hard time, it's okay. It means that you're in a moment of transition in life. We're here to experience these things, unfortunately. That's why we're here. You're here to learn. And I see it much differently now that I'm on the other side of it. It took me years. It wasn't like I had this happen months ago. Like it was years ago. And I am grateful now for what I went through, and the lessons that I had to learn, but that I had to learn them. And the people that pretended to be my friends for so many years, and I mean since high school, like some were like 20 years, and I had to learn to let them go because they let me go. As soon as I was in a state that they didn't recognize, and they thought I was doing bad things behind the scenes and I wasn't, yeah, don't be that friend that if you're talking about someone, you're not a friend. If you talk to them without judgment, without saying things like, what are you doing? Or why would you do that? You're kind of a dick. I'm just gonna say it. You don't talk. Like that's not a friend. That's a judgy kind of thing to do, don't you think? Um, yeah, so I went through a lot of abuse myself. All I can say is I wish I had uploaded or was going to upload my entire story as to my experience, but I need to say, as from the perspective of the person that's been through trauma, I had all growing up. I've been through things. People try and call you on it. The assholes of the world will try and call you on it. But I went through the abuse. I've been through all kinds of stuff. Like I was sexually abused. I had a hard childhood. Even as I got older, instead of my parents talking to me, they put a lock on the outside of my bedroom door. So wrong. You don't do that to a person. But at this point in my life, I will say it was needed. Not the whole childhood, all the things, but I've learned. And what I've learned is that myself being through trauma, I tend to hide things. If I'm going through something big, I'll give little tidbits, like little tiny little things, parts of it, but I won't give the whole story because really, ultimately, what that person is going through during that time is in their hands. They want to be able to handle it. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to be guided. They want to know that you're going to be there to love and support them no matter what their choice is because they're trying to navigate through something they're trying to learn. And I had a lot to learn. I wasn't doing the shady things that the hearsay, the people that were talking about me, wasn't doing bad things. I will say I was around a bad person. I definitely made a bad choice after my marriage, and I ended up with a person that I have no idea how this person got close to me. I'm dumbfounded. I have no idea. Well, the only clue there is I was in PTSD. He made it actually a lot worse. And yeah, I had to try and keep that person separate from everyone else because people didn't care for him. I absolutely understand that. I also tried to keep him separate from my son because I didn't like him being around my son. But I was judged. I was judged in a time that I was going through loss. And after this big loss, I was in fight or flight, and I didn't share everything. I didn't. But that's a piece of, someone who's been through some trauma in their life. I hid anything that was too big, but my friends didn't create a safe space for me to talk. All I can say is if your friend is going through something and you don't know what, and you're being judgy, you're already not a safe place for them to talk. Don't judge. Be there, listen. Don't talk about them. This is the biggest thing. I was a part of a friend group they would talk about each other and then sit together and act like they didn't. I can't tell you how much that bothers me now. That isn't friendship. Your conversations with the person should stay with only that person, not like little things. I'll give you a little bit here and there. No. Friends do not talk about each other, okay? To other people. You keep it between each other, and you don't judge, and you show love and respect in these hard times. If you have lost somebody while going through something, or like if that friend is walking away from you, you're growing. That's all I can say. Just continue to grow. Experience the things that you need to. It sucks, it's hard, but I promise you, the outcome, the learning. I love you.